All right, this is the negative rebuttal. We have 6 minutes today, and what I'm going to go over in the end of this debate is how my opponent has made a few strong arguments, but ultimately, with his three-point plan, cannot be named the victor of this debate due to the reasons I will list furthermore. Firstly, he argues to raise the green card cap from 140K to what was thrown out as, I believe, 170K. I wasn't too sure after his last video part when he re-highlighted all these points. But nonetheless, he suggests that we need to raise the green card cap from 140,000 to, we'll go with 170,000. And instead of counting the family units as each person counting as an individual, instead counting the family unit itself as one whole. And my first problem with this is, what is the definition of a family unit? My partner was not very specific in what the terms to a family unit could be, and one is only to speculate what that could be. Could that be your immediate family, your extended family, including cousins, or even people married into the family, your second cousins, nieces and nephews? And so I think this lack thereof of definition is too gaping for us to ignore. Moving forward, beyond defining the families as individuals, he wants to crack down on illegal immigration. And he says he's not trying to remove everybody from who has already settled and gotten their lives together, but he also does not specify too deeply what and who should be removed from our country as he goes into the illegal immigration issue. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, he goes on to say that there will be a 2.4 million person backlog by 2030. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the family size of a United States family is 3.5. And now 3.5 may seem small, so let's say we up this number to even 5. This does not begin to address that backlog of people, since if we are going to remove people who have illegally immigrated, they would simply go back into the backlog if they want to come back to America. And this would not address that 2.4 million person backlog that we will have by 2030. Even changing the family size to one individual, it is not a significant enough change. And so my opponent goes on to say in his third point, which was not quite clear to me of the three-point plan, but I believe it was highlighting illegal immigration and incentivizing legal immigration. And he argues that by incentivizing legal immigration with either funding or giving, like loans to people or grants to people who come here legally and want to start a new life, or even helping them get jobs, that sort of thing, it just isn't quite enough. And it is not specifically defined well enough for the affirmative to be considered victors in this sense. I look at a few different things, like my partner said, if you have a criminal record or you haven't been paying taxes, then you have to be removed because if you have illegally immigrated. And I don't think this is quite enough, as I've said, because just removing those people, well, how do we define people who haven't paid taxes? Because many illegal immigrants can't pay taxes because of their illegal immigration status. So are we talking about people who haven't paid sales tax? Because that's obviously a ripoff of sales business. Or are we talking about people who haven't paid their state taxes for housing and for their land? And these people need to be addressed, because this could be someone who has no criminal record but doesn't pay taxes because they illegally immigrated. So simply due to the fact that my opponent does not go deeper into that, I believe that point cannot be considered. And he argues that this would help people successfully in his third point, I believe. It still wasn't too clear. He argues how you can live out the American dream, how you can live with the Americans and become part of that American culture. But I don't believe that can happen if you're removing people from their homes. To remove anyone, even those with criminal records, yes, we understand we don't want people committing crime in our country. And so that is, if we define it as I more went over, unlike what he did, maybe we could, but who knows? The affirmative doesn't make that argument, and there's a huge lack of information there. how can you have these people live out their lives if they're removed from their home? I don't know. I don't know if the affirmative will go into that more in our final point, but not only due to that, but due to the improper addressing of the green card cap, raising that from 140 to 170, even counting those individuals, it doesn't make a large enough impact in a backlog that is going to be up to 2.4 million, as my opponent stated, in 2030. And the family sizes, it just needs to be redefined. If we don't define these terms, then I don't think the affirmative can be considered the winners of this debate. Thank you very much.